Hi betting experts, under a month to the Cheltenham Festival now. We're going to have a look at the Gold Cup market. It's a brilliant renewal this year. It has to be said, it has got a very one-sided look. Galopin des Champs, currently the 1-2 favourite. The reigning champion is now 11 wins from 16 starts over fences, a pretty remarkable record. And he's had the perfect build-up to retaining his title at Cheltenham this season. He returned with a creditable effort when in need of the run, finishing third under a more patient ride than normal. And he's bounced back to his best with 2 wins since, latterly in the Irish Gold Cup at Leopardstown in February at the Dublin Racing Festival, where he had a clutch of these rivals, safely held in behind. He was ridden from the front but rather weighted with. He didn't put them to the sword until asked for his effort from 2 out. If you didn't know the horse, watching the race back, there were 6 of them in a line virtually at 2 out. You thought, well, I don't want to be on this at 9 or on, but he put his head down as he always does and ran on strongly. And obviously the extended 3-mile 2 furlong trip at Cheltenham's absolutely ideal for him. There's nothing to crab. His preparation's gone well. Paul Townend's booked. He'll take the ride, and he's going to be one of the bankers of the week. The only thing that's wrong with him is his price. Obviously, he's around about 1-2 with priced up bet, and I know from years of experience you don't get fat betting short price at Cheltenham, to be absolutely honest. Things do happen round there, and it's still an extreme test of stamina. He has always given his running in the past. He's got a brilliant record round here, but obviously there's no margin for error, and it's not like he's got 30 lengths in hand over them. So I couldn't back him myself. He has to be the selection. He'll be extremely hard to beat. I think it's a race to probably have a couple of each way darts from a punting point of view and enjoy the spectacle, and hope you can get in the frame behind the favourite. The second in at the minute, Factor Far. Well, I really like him. He's a very high class prospect. He's got more to come. He's only run 7 times over fence. He's a very strong traveller. He's still got a little bit to learn about jumping. He's been beaten twice by Galopin. I thought the first time, when he finished second behind him, I thought there was a chance he might reverse the form on another day. I didn't think he got the greatest of rides, and he made a couple of jumping errors, but he was produced with every chance at the Dublin Racing Festival. He jumped fine there under a patient ride from rear. Maybe he did a little bit too much too soon, but anyway, I suspect he's going to go to the Ryanair, and I think he'll be one of the bankers of the week if he swerves the Gold Cup, which at this stage does seem likely. And in some ways, it's a similar tale about the third in, Banbridge, changed by Joseph O'Brien. He's been really well compounded. He's one of those horses, he's been like a middle pin in the market in most of his races. He's not like he's been sent off 7 or on any of them. He's won 6 from 11, which is pretty remarkable. He was a mighty drifter before the King George at Cheltenham over Christmas. I think most people, including myself, thought he might not stay that trip, but he got it really strongly in a really strongly run race. Whether it was a particularly good renewal of the King George, I very much doubt, but it was certainly a strongly run one. It was on good ground, so I guess Joseph, if he's going to run in the Gold Cup, he's going to want good ground to see out this 3-mile 2 extended trip up the final climb. I do have my doubts about whether he'll get home, and if it's soft, I'm sure they'll go to the Ryanair. 8-1 at the minute. He doesn't make any appeal as a betting proposition. To me, a more interesting runner is Corbett's Cross, who's around 14-1. He's unexposed. He's only run 8 times over fences. He did win the 3-mile 5 furlong National Hunt Chase at the 2024 festival, so there's no stamina doubts about him. I suppose in the King George at Kempton over Christmas, he got a very quiet negative ride. He was still on the bridle turning for home. The only problem was he was about 25 lengths behind, but he got very tired. He was well beaten by Banbridge, so, you know, obviously the ground will hopefully be softer at Cheltenham. It's a longer trip. It could play to his strengths. Maybe Emmett's been targeting the race all season. He's definitely an interesting runner. He's one of those horses, if there was money for him on the day, you'd be very interested, because Emmett is an absolute genius and they don't tend to miss, so perhaps he's one of the each-way alternatives at the current prices. Grange Clare West is another Mullins raider. I think he's going to go for the race, or he is multiply entered up at the festival. He ran a career best effort when second behind Galopin des Champs at the Dublin Racing Festival, but as I said before, I think there were 6 in line, 2 out. He was flattered. I doubt the form behind the favourite amounts to a great deal. I think he's easy to oppose. All of his previous form, including a couple of runs earlier in the season, leaves him with loads to find. An interesting one, perhaps one for the each ways again, Monty's Star, 16-1. Now, here's the clue with Monty's. I think when he's run twice this season, Henry de Bromhead's been really struggling, but he's back in the winners now. This one is a progressive stayer. He did catch the eye behind Galopin des Champs. He wasn't ridden with a great deal of enterprise, but he got there, then was one paced from 2 out. Shaping nicely. He does make each way appeal. 6 runs so far. I assume Rachel will be up for the booked for the ride, He's entered in the Grand National. I think the move, if you fancy Monty Star a bit for the Gold Cup, a small each way bet at 16-1, but do back him for the Grand National at a double figure price. If he runs well in the Gold Cup, he's a sort of horse could be 6-1 favourite for the Grand National at Aintree in April. So he's an interesting runner. Also, he stays further, so he could be ridden with patience, pick up the pieces in a strongly run race. But the horse I am going to back each way and put him up as a small selection, Long Press, 20-1. Well, Venetia's had a fantastic season. She obviously missed all of the summer, as she always does. It started raining in about November. She caught fire and she's stayed hot since. Her horses are really flying. And this tough stayer's got a good record, 8 from 13 over fences. He always runs well at Cheltenham. He was ridden to do just enough when he won the Grade 2 Cotswold Chase here in January, picking off Stage Star. That form's nothing special. It leaves him with a stone to find, but he is a Cheltenham horse. He jumps these fences well. He stays 3 mile 2 really well. He'll get a patient ride out the heat of the race from Deutsch, and he'll be staying on strongly up the hill. He's the sort of horse 4-1 a place, 5-1 a place. I do think that's double fair with conditions to suit. He probably wants it to rain a bit. I don't think he'd be that effective on good ground like all of Venetia's, but he does make each way appeal. As I say, a horse with that record, with a good Cheltenham record, 20-1, I think it's slightly over the odds. Best of luck with all your Gold Cup betting experts, and please do check out our sponsor, Priced Up Bet.